What's good, everybody? The Washington Wizards had a really productive weekend, trading Mike Muscala and Gallinari to the Detroit Pistons for Isiagh Livers and Marvin Bagley III. And the Wizards got a win against the Atlanta Hawks in the ATL. So again, a very, very productive weekend for the Washington Wizards. We're going to talk about that and chop it up with you guys at the end like we always do tonight on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's the best backcourt in the DMV. Brandon Scott and my guy, the real Ed Oliver. And we appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50+ infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com and use the promo code Locked On to get $20 off your order. That's JASE Medical.com. So big productive weekend for the Washington Wizards. Big trade news with the Detroit Pistons, and the Wizards get a much needed win in the ATL. So we're definitely going to recap both the trade and the win in the ATL, and then obviously we're going to answer some questions and chop it up with you guys in the end. So starting first with the big, well, it's kind of under the radar, but it's big for the Wizards. But a really, really under the radar move, but a good move. Looking at the specifics of the trade, the Washington Wizards have traded Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala to the Detroit Pistons for Marvin Bagley III and forward Isiagh Livers, including a 2025 and 2026 second-round picks from the Pistons. So, this is obviously the first domino to fall heading into the trade deadline. What do you like about the deal, and what do you not like the deal? Or is it really a win-win for the Wizards?
This is a win-win for the Wizards. I love everything about it. I mean, to be able to move on from Gallinari and Muscala guys. So, Gallinari was collecting DNPs. He wasn't even getting any playing time in the last few games. He's a guy that's on the last part of his career as well. And to get something for those guys, somebody Gallinari, who I thought was going to be a buyout candidate. Same thing with Muscala. I didn't think we were getting much for them, even a second-round pick. For us to end up getting, 2 seconds and 2 players. Marvin Bagley, who's a guy who can rebound. He can score. He can get to the basket. He can play above the rim, play with some physicality. He's going to be helping Gafford out for sure, rebound the ball. He's one of the best. He's one of the better rebounders in the league. He's a good offensive rebounder, a good guy with putbacks, putback dunks, playing above the rim. We just don't have that. We don't have a lot of those guys that do that, play with physicality. So I love that. Livers is a guy that can shoot the three, play with Jordan Poole at the University of Michigan. So, he's a guy that, you take a swing on him, a buy low kind of guy, see what you can get out of him. But to get something, any type of value back for Muscala and Gallo, guys who certainly were buyout candidates, is a win-win for the Washington Wizards. And Bagley, his deal is not bad, $12.5 million. He's on the books for this year and next year. You can really move him again, either in the offseason, or you can just, put him on a roster so at least Gafford can have some type of help rebound the basketball. Because, I'm not going to kick them while they're on their way out, but they didn't really provide much rebounding. Gallo couldn't really guard anybody. He could barely move. He had cement feet. We always talk about him with AARP, and, he was getting older and older. Couldn't guard a Parkar or a Cone or anything like that. And Muscala had a couple good games. When Gafford got in foul trouble, there was a game where Muscala came in and hit threes. But for us, we just need rebounding, and that's something that we really struggle with. So this is a huge win for Michael Winger, for Will Dawkins, Michael Winger, and Travis Schlenk. Now we've acquired 8 seconds. And you can attach those seconds to a player like Tyus Jones, move him with 2 seconds, trade him for another player in a first. So we have so many second-round picks. We can attach those to a player and possibly move up into the draft, because there's a lot of talent coming up in the next couple of years. It's a 2025 second-round pick, a 2026 second-round pick. But those picks are not too far down the road. They're not like 2029 second-round picks or anything like that. So, but yeah, I love it, man. And Bagley, man, he's gonna provide some explosiveness to this team. I'm excited for that. Above the rim, lob threat, basketball index. He's one of the top 5 centers in stable. He's one of the best. He was one of the best offensive rebounders in the league this year. Top 10 in putbacks per basketball index. Him, Andre Drummond, Clint Capella, Mitchell Robinson, Mark Williams, Day'Ron Sharpe, Walker Kessler, Joel Embiid, he was in the top 10 in putbacks so far this season. So I love this trade.
Oh, I love this trade because I mean, number one is the first domino to fall. I mean, it's the first move that I mean, the deadline's coming up, man, February 8th. So we're definitely getting close to the deadline. Win-win for the Washington Wizards. Because again, 2 second-round picks. Isiagh Livers, he comes in, he's got that history with Jordan Poole. So maybe, having somebody familiar with him will help ease the transition to DC. I think that's a win-win as far as Jordan Poole and him acclimating to DC. And looking at Marvin Bagley Jr., yeah. I mean, can you call him a bust? He's definitely on the fence for a little bit, Sacramento, Detroit. But I think I've always been a big fan of him. I know you are, E. He definitely can come in. He can definitely help us with the rebounding issues. Definitely help Gaff as far as taking a lot of pressure off of his shoulders, being a guy in the paint, man. So I think it's a win-win. I mean, like I said, technically they consider it a bad contract because they threw those 2 second-rounders with his contract to get it off the books. But again, next year's last year, so it's not too bad, especially in the rebuild. He's definitely a guy who can come in. We have the ability to flip him again if need be. This is a really good trade. It really is because you can see that it's going to be a completely different team after the deadline. Obviously, if you can get 2 second-round picks for 2 guys who we both thought were going to be buyout candidates. I mean, Gallo can barely move, man. I mean, thank you for your service. Appreciate you. You're here for a little bit. Here long enough for a cup of coffee, but he can barely move, man. And Muscala just won it for backup center. So we have got 2 guys who can play 4 positions. I mean, obviously Marvin Bagley can play the 4 and the 5, and Livers he's a forward, so he can play the 4 and maybe the 3. But they're working on showing up the 2 biggest issues we have, which is what? Defense and rebounding, or I guess 3. On 3-point shooting, because defensively, Marvin Bagley and Livers aren't really known for being defensive stoppers, but we got a guy who's a shooter. So he's definitely another shooter on the outside. And the guy who can come in, he's going to rebound at a high level. He can come in, he's athletic, So I think it's a great move for the depth on this team. Great trade. And like I said, it's definitely the first domino. Obviously, next you're looking at Shamet, Tyus Jones, maybe Kyle Kuzma, maybe Daniel Gafford, because all their names have been involved with trade talks. As far as Gaff and the Knicks, Kyle Kuzma about 5-6 different teams. Tyus Jones the same. So this is going to be a very busy year for the Washington Wizards because, again, this big 3 we have in the front office, they're trying to get a lot of these veteran contracts off the books. And they're trying to really reset, which is officially start the rebuild, which I believe will be at the deadline, giving a lot of looks and a lot of minutes to a lot of these young guys. And we'll see with Jordan Poole. I think that Jordan Poole, and that's a whole nother conversation, but looking at these 2 guys, man, I think it's a really good situation for them, man, because like I said, with Livers, man, still a rookie scale contract. So we still hold all his rights. So if he comes in and he balls out, man, look, he's still young. Marvin Bagley, it feels like he's been in the league for a minute, but he's only 24 years old. So technically, he fits the timeline. So let's see if we can revitalize him here in DC. But I'm very excited because, again, this is the first domino. And if you're a DC sports fan, man, looking at the Wizards and the Commanders, man, a lot of moves are being made, man. So it's an exciting time to be a fan of DC. This is definitely the first move by this front office to get a lot of these veterans off the contract. And again, these 2 guys we thought they were going to be bought out. He got good value out of these 2 guys, considering they were DNPing and they were pretty much on their way out of the door, whether buyout or whatnot. So to get the return he got, look, we're cooking now. We got a front office knows what they're doing. Tommy Shepard is no longer in the 202. We have a front office, man, where they know how to will and deal. They know how to build. They know how to get assets. And again, Will Dawkins going back to OKC. I mean, OKC, man, they pick up picks like it's nothing. So you definitely believe that the MO with Will Dawkins, man, and company is acquire as much assets as you can in return, man, and then we'll deal from there. Because, I mean, if you look at the OKC, man, we both watched the Thunder when they came to DC, man. Look, that team is ready to compete. And they built it how? Through the draft, being crafty with draft picks. So this is definitely a sign for things to come. I definitely think they're going to rebuild this team. And it started with trades like this. So I'm very happy, man. Very, very, very happy.
Right, yeah, because right now we have 8 seconds since the 2023 offseason. They've acquired 8 seconds, 4 first swaps, and they've acquired 1 first-round pick. So they've loaded up on some picks and some assets. Excuse me, I still think there's more to come. And this is exciting to see that they got something for these guys. It's kind of like, man, what are they gonna cook up to get for Tyus Jones? What are they gonna cook up to get Kyle Kuzma? Maybe they can finesse the team and get multiple first-round picks, like the reports have been saying. I don't think they will, but with these guys, they're cooking something up. So this is something that definitely kind of came out of nowhere for me. I wasn't expecting that on a Sunday morning.
right
after a blowout victory for them to cook this up. But I know it's not like a blockbuster trade. It's not like a huge trade that's going to move the needle or anything like that. But it's a small victory for the Wizards to get something for two veterans that we know we weren't going to bring back next year, Muscala and Gallo, who are free agents that certainly could have got bought out. But yeah, no, there's some good points about Bagley, man. He's young, man. He's still got some left in the tank. Still got some left in the tank. So I'm excited to see what he does here in DC.
Oh, he's definitely a very intriguing pickup, man, because he's young and he can rebound and he's got a little dog in him, man. I'm just saying. So it's a good move, man. I love this move. And like I said, you look at Livers real quick, still on the rookie scale. So we still own his rights. He's going to be a restricted free agent. So he can still stay in DC depending on how he plays, man. Because like I said, I think him being included in the trade definitely had a little bit to do with trying to make things a little more comfortable for Jordan Poole, man, because as we know, man, his contract is not movable right now. So maybe you make him comfortable, give him all the pieces and all the help he needs, and we'll see. So there are a lot of variables to look in this deal, man, but it is definitely a win-win for the Washington Wizards. So, man, wow. So we're going to go ahead and move on. The Wizards got a win against the Atlanta Hawks, 127-99. So we're going to recap that, and then we're going to chop it up at the end and answer a lot of you guys' questions. So, but before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by the Jase Medical. I know we've come to sports to escape for some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we just talk for a minute about preparing for real life? Yeah. According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. This is scary, y'all. I can imagine a more helpless feeling than one of my kids or my wife or anybody in my family or friends to get sick, or one of my kids got sick while a supply chain issue kept them from the life-saving medication they needed. Thankfully, we'll be okay because of Jase Medical. The Jase case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, among others. This stuff could happen to any of us. I'm trying to tell y'all. So all you have to do is visit jasemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. I'm trying to tell you. All you have to do is go to jasemedical.com and use promo code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your first order. And Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with a look at experts at Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So the Washington Wizards get a much needed victory on Saturday night in the ATL, 127-99, holding the Atlanta Hawks, who have been struggling lately, under 100 points. So looking at the team stats real quick, I mean, obviously, checked every box when it comes to how to win a game. I mean, we kept them to 34% free throw percentage. They shot only 27% from three. They beat us in the turnover battle, which is a good thing when it comes to stats, and we out-rebounded them. So, much needed victory in the ATL. What kind of won the game for the Wizards? Was it their offensive output or defensively? Keeping them under 100? Was defense what won the game?
Defense was a big part of it too. They actually out-rebounded the Hawks, which is really something that we don't see at all. 54-50. But they forced turnovers, and they turned those turnovers into points, man. Fast break points, they had 31. That was the tail of the tape. Jordan Poole in transition, he got an M1 on Trae Young, a nice Euro step. And Kyle Kuzma had a couple fast breaks. Bilal had a fast break layup where he finished strong. Denny had a couple nice fast break finishes as well. 60 points in the paint to their 36, so we didn't settle. A big thing was Kyle Kuzma, and I know Denny had a great game. I'm going to get to Denny as well. But Kyle Kuzma, man, like, the last couple of games, Kuzma just hasn't really looked focused.
Yeah.
And he hasn't looked engaged. He looked like, some of the trade rumors are kind of getting to him, and just he looks a little checked out just from the outside looking in. And this game, he looked locked in. Like, he looked like he was ready to play. He was focused. He wasn't going to settle for threes. He took it to the basket. He shot 5 threes where we've seen games where he shot 18 threes. So he only shot 5. He was more focused, going up strong, going to the basket. It looked like he was playing with a purpose and a man on a mission. So I think that was certainly huge for Kyle Kuzma. There was a big difference in the way he played. Denny was awesome. So I know the Denny stands are going to love this. Now I know the Denny stands, some of them had some bad words for Wes Unseld Jr. because they took him out right before the triple-double. It's so funny because when he was 1 assist away from the triple-double. The next play, Hamidou Diallo has an assist to Patrick Baldwin Jr., and that would have been Denny's assist. So I get why a lot of Denny fans are upset, but I did see some things on social media where they were threatening Wes and whatnot. So they got to relax with that. But Denny had an awesome game. Seriously, 19 points, 14 boards, 9 assists. He was a huge part. Jordan Poole, he was a huge part too. Like he kept going on Trae Young every time. Trae Young can't. He's not a defender at all. And Jordan Poole took advantage of that, and I love that. Jordan Poole didn't settle. he got to the basket. He got some layups as well. The huge thing is that they didn't settle, man. Like the Wizards, they like to settle for threes, and the Wizards they shot well from the 3-point line, but when they were able to pass and move the ball and get to the basket, they certainly did that. Like Kuz had a really nice pass to Denny where he had a dunk, and where he was just cutting to the basket. So just good team basketball. Great effort by everybody. Denny with 9 assists, Tyus with 7 assists. They moved the ball. They were unselfish.
Yeah.
And they rebounded. Gafford had a good game from what I saw, 10.6 boards. He was running the floor, didn't get in foul trouble. So everything that could go right really went right for the Wizards. And they look like a team, like when they play like that, like they can win more games. Like they certainly, I don't think the roster is not great, but they're not as bad. They're not 7-31 type of bad.
Nah.
So I love the effort, and they play with heart. They played with a lot of physicality last night.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they do have talent on this team. They do have talent. I agree with you. If you look at the solid three of Kuzma, Poole, and Denny, they had really, really good games. I mean, Kuzma, man on the mission, shooting 50% from field goal percentage, man, 3 for 5 from 3. I mean, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block. I mean, Kyle Kuzma did his thing, 29 points. Jordan Poole, again, really good game, 20 points, 8 for 16 for the field, 2 for 6 from 3. 2 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal, and 2 assists. And then looking at Denny had a really good offensive game, shooting 7 for 12, scoring 19 points, but the 14 rebounds, 9 assists. I mean, Denny was a man on a mission. This is what you want to see from Denny offensively. We know that he's definitely a really good defender. But the offensive side is what we've been waiting on. And I mean, he responded. 19 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists. So, I'm not going to really touch on the whole subject of, Weston Still Jr. and holding back from a triple-double. But, I mean, you can't take away anything from his game. I mean, Denny had a really good game. I mean, Gaff, 10 points, 6 rebounds. Gaff, again, was running the floor, very, very active. And looking at Tyus Jones, very underwhelming game. But one key factor I'm looking at, stat really, is 7 assists. So he's definitely distributing the ball. And he's doing his thing as floor general. So, the starting 5 looked really, really good. The bench, Koulibaly, 12 points, shooting 3 for 8. But again, his shots definitely gonna come around. He did contribute 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, or 1 block, 2 steals. So Koulibaly definitely continues to show how much, he can really evolve as a player, man. He's looking really good. Kispert, again, really good game, 11 points, 3 for 5 from 3. Patrick Baldwin Jr. got 18 minutes. I'm just saying, that's what I want to see. I want to see a lot more minutes for Patrick Baldwin Jr. And in 18 minutes, he shot 3 for 8 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, but his 3-point shot will drop and 8 points. And then looking at DeLon Wright, we know what DeLon can do. He was very active defensively, and he added 8 points. So again, like you said, very good team, very, very good team victory. And it shows that this team does have talent. Now, there's a whole other episode of what the issues are. I mean, and I think we all know what the issues are as far as the player's perspective, the rebound, the defense. But tonight they showed how good they can be when they play team basketball, when there's ball movement, when they push the pace, when they run the floor, when they give that effort. There's a very different team than what we've seen all year long. We've seen them struggle, but when they win, you see a different team when they win. You see a team that it kind of give you a glimpse of how good they could be. If other factors were different. So very, very good team victory. Very impressed with the team. Now, obviously, looking at the individually as players and the team as a whole, consistency is the biggest thing. We want to see a lot more showings like this where the effort is high. They're definitely very active. So that's where I'm at, man. I want to see a lot more consistency. Now, I don't know how much more consistency we're going to see considering they're 7-31, but we'll see because they do have talent. So before we move on, man, I'm really happy with this team because again, it shows how good it can be when all falls in the right pieces for them. You know what I mean? When they play team basketball, they definitely the talent shows. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. Before we move on to comments, anything else you want to cover as far as the Hawks game?
No, I love the way that Denny played. He played really well on ball. Jordan Poole, he was running. He got the ball on ball too. The pick and roll was working well. So no, that was a great game. Great win from start to finish. They didn't give up a 15-plus point lead, and they finished the game from start to finish.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to comments. Let's go ahead and celebrate, man, because we got a big first domino trade and we get that dub in the ATL. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 money bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And the app is easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way, in my opinion, to find popular parlays and more. So all you guys got to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the National Football League. So let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, we are celebrating first domino trade and a big dub in the ATL. So let's get into it, man. And E, if you see any, go ahead and click on it. Let's see.
Yes, sir.
We'll start the party right. DL said, "Great move. We needed athletic bigs." I agree. Front court depth was a big issue. Big issue that we all complained about all year long because it was just it scared you. But with this trade, man, again, Livers, he's more of a 4 at 6'7", but he definitely provides front court depth at the 4. And Bagley can play the 4 and the 5, so they definitely give us a lot more capabilities as far as mixing and matching lineups. But Bagley, definitely keep it out for him because I think he plays hard. I mean, obviously, he's had his trials and tribulations, from his time with Sacramento and Detroit. But I definitely think that he could come in here, clean slate, play hard, and we'll see what we have in Bagley, man, because I do still like Bagley as a player. I liked him coming out of Duke. I liked him in Sacramento. He's had his struggles. I mean, maybe he didn't pan out like they thought he would, but I still think that he can provide a boost in rebounding, definitely be a threat offensively and defensively in the interior. So good trade.
Yeah, I like Bagley. Here's another athletic big. He's about 6'9", 6'10". He can play above the rim. He also takes a lot of charges. That's one thing he's going to bring to the team as well. He takes charges, so he's willing to put his body on the line too. So I like that a lot about Bagley.
Absolutely. This comment is from Wiz Kid Forever. We're gonna have all the second round picks. Yeah, I know, right? Good can't lose trade for the Wizards, man. Yeah, it feels like we're gonna own almost every second round pick for the next 10 years, man. But look, this shows his mentality coming from Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, they're very, very crafty with their picks. Because you notice, man, understand Pressey, man. Oklahoma City acquired a lot of assets, man. And so that's how you will and deal in the rebuild. I see all the right decisions being made by Will Dawkins and company. I love what I see. E. So yeah, 2 second round picks, but like you said, E, they can definitely package them and try to move up in drafts. Like, because look, I know people are kind of low in this draft, but next year we got Cooper Flag. So I mean, we get that fourth pick, and we need to move up. We're gonna have the ammo to do so. So we have a lot more capabilities in the draft now because we have a lot of these assets. So let's see.
110%. Yeah. I mean, the second round picks, you can always package them up and move up in the draft. And also, there's some good players that you can get. Like Obi Toppin was traded for a couple of second round picks.
Yeah,
he's playing well for the Pacers. Kenyon Martin Jr. He's not getting a lot of playing time, but that's just a young prospect that you can move second round picks for and pick up. So you never want to sleep on second round picks. We have so many, but you can move those up, and you can hit on the second in the second round. There's a couple of good players that have been drafted in the second round in the past. Of course, Gilbert Arenas. I know it's taking it back, but still, I mean, there's always a hidden gem that you can find in the second round that plays well. There's so many players you can name that have turned into good players, rotational players in the second round for sure. Another thing about Bagley, I see some people asking, what we think, and then Livers hasn't really played well for the Pistons this season. He's averaging just 9 points per 36, posting a true shooting of 46% on low usage. But he's a guy that can shoot the 3, played with Jordan Poole in college. I do want to see where he's going to fit in the rotation. I want to see how Bagley fits in the rotation. We can talk about this next episode too. Like,
yeah,
they can have some different athletic lineups. They can play small ball where he's at the 5, Kuzma's at the 4.
Yep.
Maybe you put Bilal at the 3, just having an athletic lineup, Jordan Poole at the 2, and Tyus at the 1. or you can have Denny. I'm sorry, Denny. Denny, of course, would be in the lineup too. So it'd be like Bagley, Kuz, Denny at the 3, Bilal the 2, Tyus at the 1, or Jordan Poole at the 1. So there's a lot of different things you can do with Bagley. You can play all these guys together, or you just there's just so many different lineups I feel like you can do where guys can kind of move around. They're more athletic rather than having Muscala in there, or Gallo in there. You just don't have a backup big. You can put Gafford in there at the 5, Bagley at the 4, Denny at the 3, Blau the 2, or just even Kuzma at the 3, Denny at the 2. Just so many different lineups you could put in there. So I'm interested to see what Wes does. It's going to be tougher. And then just thinking about Livers too, like I was thinking about the playing time. Some people are saying Livers may get more playing time than Johnny Davis already. Like is Livers going to come in and get more playing time than Johnny, or where is he in the rotation? I do think it would be kind of interesting to see if they do give Livers more playing time than Johnny, where Johnny hasn't been playing at all. So I'm interested to see just how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they have the ability to kind of mix and match with lineups. You know what I mean? You have a lot more capability as far as game planning, which is what you want to see a lot more from West, man. So yeah, I agree on all points, man. Now looking at the lineup, I think that when you see Tyus get moved, maybe Kyle Kuzma, but I think eventually you're gonna see Bilal at the 2 guard after the deadline. That's gonna be my bet. So I think that maybe seeing a lineup, maybe they go 9 or maybe a 10-man rotation, because we'll see, because Bagley's the backup big, or depending on what they do. But Livers and Corey Kispert on the bench would not be a bad look after the deadline. It's definitely a good shooting lineup. Johnny Davis, I mean, if you look at the positions, man, Johnny Davis could come in and play 2 guard behind Bilal after the deadline. I mean, I know I'm throwing a lot of ideas out there, but I think that you have a really good chance to give a lot of young guys good playing time. And this is when you see in the second half, man. So let's see. Siva said, first of all, what a fun game to watch. Denny did great in offense, but not less important. Great D on Trey, not just him. The difference was looking sharp. I mean, look, this was a good team victory. And like, we both said that when they play team basketball, they look good. They play as a team. And very often than not, they win. When they play team basketball, not focusing on ISO and being so heavily on holding on to the ball, when they practice good ball movement, man, you see the talent on the squad. So, like I said, I'm not very surprised, to be honest with you, because I think the ceiling, I'm not going to say super high, but I mean, you definitely see a team that has talent and you can definitely win some games, especially against your lower tier teams, because there's talent on this squad. It's just playing as a team. So,
yeah, 110%. As far as the comment from Siva saying, for what a fun game to watch, Denny was awesome, man. He was taking it to the basket, finishing strong, passing the ball, rebounding the ball. He did it all last night, and that's just the Denny that, if he hits his full potential, that we can see on a consistent basis, for sure. And the defense on Trae Young, they made Trae Young settle for a lot of threes. Trae Young was off. I think we broke the Hawks. I think the Hawks, they've been ready to trade guys anyway, but I think we definitely ended their season right there. I think they're going to make a couple trades coming up. Like DeJounte Murray is going to be gone. Capella's going to be gone. I think after that loss, that was a devastating loss for them. That was, in their house, to beat them by 20 like that and just really skunk them. That was awesome for us to do, because the Hawks have beaten us a couple times in a row. But yeah, I mean, Denny's defense on Trae Young, his defense on a lot of guys, Sadiq Bey, some other guys as well. So he did a great job all around. I really wanted him to get the triple-double. I understand West taking him out because it's a blowout, but if for me, I probably would have left him in there, but I'm not tripping over it, honestly.
Nah, I mean, I wouldn't trip, man. I mean, he's definitely gonna get that triple dub, man. So I mean, he'll be all right, man. 757 Final said defensively both are really bad, but can't be worse than Mike and Gallo. I mean, look, and there's obviously they're not defensive stoppers per se, but I think that Bagley is definitely going to bring presence into the interior. Mike Muscala wasn't that presence, man. We needed for a backup big, man. He just wouldn't, the dog went there. Bagley's going to go in there. He's going to work. Rebounding is what we desperately need, and he's going to provide that. He's definitely going to be. I think he's going to do well. His second is the big for the second unit, man. And like you said, they have the ability to mix and match the lineup. So you could see Bagley at the 4 in certain lineups and Gaff at the 5. They can switch in here and there and switch out here. It adds more capability to game playing for Wes Unseld Jr. So I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited to see this young squad in the second half.
Yeah, and then Namer Miofef says Jokic was a second round pick. Yeah, there's so many good second round
Yeah.
picks. I mean, Gilbert, Draymond Green. There's so many. I can pull up second round picks that have worked out in the NBA for sure. So I can Google that. But yeah, I mean, as far as because some people are talking about how bad his defense is. Bagley, yes, I've heard that his defense is not great either. But honestly, it can't get any worse than what we have here. And maybe he can turn a corner here and improve that way. And the biggest thing is rebounding. That's something that we
Yeah.
just had. We did. It was non-existent. And if we can have somebody that can help out Gaff with some type of athleticism and rebound, excuse me, it's a win-win for the Wizards. And like I said, the trade wasn't to make us a playoff contender. The trade was to pick up assets and to move on from guys that we know that are not coming back, and to take a flyer on a young guy like Bagley that has talent, former second pick of the draft. Unfortunately, he was picked right before Luka. He was picked right before Trae Young. He was the second pick of the draft. It was Ayton, then Bagley, then Luka. Then looking at that draft, I had to pull it up. It was Luke. It was It doesn't really matter now, but he'll always be remembered. Jaren Jackson was the fourth pick of the draft. Yeah. So Jaren Jackson's the defensive player of the year. So 3 guys in a row picked right after him had some really, really good careers. And then after Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was pick 11, Miles Bridges pick 12. So there was a lot of guys picked after him that have had some really, really good careers so far. But I think he's a guy kind of like how Jabari Parker was the second pick of the draft. And, his career went out, but he was still super, super talented. Another Duke player. And Jabari Parker was traded to the Wizards too. And I thought Jabari Parker had a good season for the Wizards too, where he's just really talented. And we'll see if they can get the best out of Bagley. I'm expecting him to come in, play hard, be athletic, score, get to the rim, rebound. That's all I want him to do. And just help us look competitive, because all the games we've been blown out by 30 points, that's just ridiculous. I get it, you're trying to get the best pick in the draft, but at least be competitive. At least look like you're locked in, like you're playing, that you haven't checked out. I think he's a guy that's going to come in and play hard. That's all I've been asking from this team.
Yeah, same here, man. I agree on all points. So I guess we'll do one more comment real quick. DMV for Life said that Bagley might be a little better than Gafford, not a big difference. I mean, Gafford to me is more a threat as far as swatting shots, and I mean he has more of a presence defensively in the paint. Bagley just, I mean, you see glimpses, but I think that with Gafford and Bagley, man, you have a lot of athleticism at this center position and a lot more depth. Like you said, I mean, Livers can play the 4, so I feel better with the 5 than I did with Muscala. And it's nothing against Muscala. Look, man, if you played in NBA, then you're a lot better than I could ever be. So it's nothing on Muscala. It's just Muscala just didn't fit what we need, which is rebounding and a lot more presence at the center position. And I think Bagley, he provides that. Rebounding is going to get better, especially with the second unit, man, which is where we struggled. And, Mike Muscala, he's more of a spread, spread 4, spread 5, man, where with Bagley, he's going to put a lot more emphasis in the interior, which is desperately where we need it, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, is he better than Gafford? He's more skilled than Gafford because Gafford's a specialist.
Yeah.
So they're 2 different players. Like Gafford is a rim running big. He's a guy that's going to catch lobs. He's not gonna create a shot for himself. He's not gonna make a post move. He's not gonna shoot a 3, or really even a 10-foot jumper. He's a rim running lob threat kind of big. So, is he better than Gafford? I don't think that's really, the point of the trade, honestly. But, and like I said, he's not a needle mover. That's not the point of it either. The point of the trade was to get more picks and somebody else who can actually help rebound the ball. But I think he's more of a skilled scorer, of course. He's a guy that can put the ball in the basket, has some post moves, can put the ball on the floor a little bit. As far as Gafford, I don't really compare Gafford to anybody unless it's like another big man.
Yeah,
that's the only time I really and Bagley, he's really not. They call him a center right now he's really he's a power forward and center.
Yeah,
I forgot that he's a lefty too, so that's going to be different there. Just seeing him as a lefty, but yeah, I think he's an upgrade over what we had as far as Gallo trying to rebound and play center, and Muscala going out there trying to play center. I think he's an upgrade for sure. Actually, 99% of the time this season he played center. 1% of the time he played power forward. So he played a lot of center for the Pistons. The Pistons they had James Wiseman, but he got more playing time than Wiseman, and then Duren has been injured. He's been in and out of the lineup. So Bagley had to play a lot of center this year. So he is going to be playing a lot of center for the Wizards as well. But to get back to the second round picks, like I said, so people don't sleep on second round. Chris Middleton, Gilbert Arenas, Paul Millsap. Who else? Mark Gasol.
Michael Redd. You remember him?
You said Michael Redd?
Yeah, you remember him?
I do remember Michael Redd. Dennis Rodman was a second round pick. Manu Ginobili, Nikola Jokic, of course, was a second round pick. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely go on and on about the second round picks that have panned out in the NBA. So you never know.
That's because as a Wizards fan, I mean, we barely see our second round picks.
Right.
I mean, the last couple, man, are somewhere. I don't know where Yannick Sosa somewhere. Man,
oh my goodness, yeah, Sosa. Oh my god.
So we have PTSD from not ever seeing our second round picks.
Yeah,
but now
oh
man, the list goes on. So we'll go ahead and call it there, man. So very excited, guys. Big trade, first of many. Definitely gonna see a different team after the deadline, and the Wizards get a much needed win. And Atlanta, I mean, you lose to the Wizards, man, it's definitely going to shake some things up for you. And Atlanta Hawks, man, they're hurting right now. So definitely appreciate everybody. So Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts at Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. It's Locked On Sports Today on YouTube, and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So again, appreciate you guys, man. So hail to the Wizards and peace. See everybody next time.